It's that time of year again where you're deciding that you want to upgrade your phone. Specifically, you want to upgrade your iPhone. Which one do you choose? That's especially hard because this year we have 4 models to choose from. So which one is right for you? Now I could go long and get super into depth, and I would love to get nerdy about that video for another time. Instead, I'm going to talk about 3 main areas that I think others are not necessarily highlighting but should be highlighted when it comes to discussing the differences of these phones. The first is camera system. How good are these photos going to be, and why does it actually matter? The second is battery, and honestly how that's going to affect your device. You're going to see a pretty significant range between the devices. And the third is actually going to be, what is the best bang for your buck? Are you going to be getting the most value out of the phone, the most premium traits of it, for the amount of money that you're going to spend? The Mini is the cheapest of them all, starting at only just $700. And next comes the 12 at $800. 12 Pro at $1,000, and the 12 Pro Max at $1,100. Also, side note, that's just that's for American dollars. And while these phones are not as different as they have been in years past, these phones do have some differences. And as I said earlier, the first difference is the cameras. Now the 12 Mini and the 12 both only have 2 cameras, a wide and an ultra wide. Pro and the Pro Max both have 3 cameras. With the Pro models, you're adding in a telephoto lens and LiDAR. LiDAR is essentially sending out infrared signals to measure depth. So it means it's going to perform better in AR, it's going to perform better with portraits, and it's going to be able to detect edges and accurately measure things. So there's more implications, but those are some examples. LiDAR is a great thing, and you miss out on that with the 12 and the 12 Mini. With the 12 and the 12 Mini, you will not be able to take night mode portraits on the back cameras. So it's because of the LiDAR and the telephoto lens on the Pro and the Pro Max, you can take night mode portraits. And also because of that telephoto lens, you get more zoom. The Pro gets 4 times and the Pro Max gets 5 times zoom, where the 12 and the 12 Mini only get 2 times zoom. Another thing swinging with an advantage for the Pros are you get Apple Pro RAW. And Pro RAW is a format that is designed specifically by Apple. Most phones have been able to shoot in RAW, but not Apple Pro RAW. The benefit for Apple Pro RAW is going to be something that's going to be seen later because it's not out yet. But my guess is more so that it's going to allow more details when you're editing photos than standard RAW, even though RAW is amazing to begin with. I just think if you have an Apple ecosystem, it's going to be so much more dynamic. You're going to be able to do it in just their basic photo editing app. So gone are the days of paying for expensive photo editors like Lightroom. And it doesn't just stop with photos. It also goes into videos, where the Pros get Dolby Vision. Caveat. So do the 12 and the 12 Mini, but the Pros get 60 frames per second, and the 12 and 12 Mini only get 30 frames per second. And if you want to know which one's going to have the best camera, because this year, pretty much every single phone has a different camera system set up, except for the 12 and 12 Mini detail. Okay, slight nerd moment. The Pro Max is going to have the best camera. It's also going to have a better sensor, because it's going to be 47% bigger, and it's going to have a new stabilizing system, even over the Pro. And next, we've got battery. This one's gonna be pretty quick because the numbers are pretty self-explanatory. Well, the iPhone 12 Mini is rated to get 15 hours of video playback time. To put that in perspective, the 12 and the 12 Pro both get 17 hours of video playback time. And then the Pro Max gets 20 hours of playback time. 20 hours, 17 hours, 15 hours. The most bang for your buck. Which phone is actually going to be worth it? Well, at $700, you miss out on LiDAR, you miss out on a third lens, you miss out on Apple Pro RAW, you miss out on HDR, Dolby Vision HDR for video, because you only get 30 frames per second, not 60. You also get the smallest battery of them all, and you also get the smallest amount of storage at only 64 gigabytes. The 12 is the same thing, but with a better battery, which, if you recall, gets 2 more hours of battery life for video playback. The 12 Pro actually gets the same with the battery, but you do get the Apple Pro RAW HDR for video in 60 frames per second. You also get telephoto, the third lens, and you get LiDAR, and you also get 128 gigabytes as the standard base for that phone. And the storage is the same for the Pro Max. Between the Pro and the Pro Max, for an additional $100, you get a little bit more zoom, 3 extra hours of battery life, and a slightly better screen resolution. That's honestly about it. So let me ask you, has this helped you at all? Are you more confident in which one you want to get? I think these are important things to discuss, and not a lot of people are. All these phones are going to be fantastic phones, and if you want a smaller size, do it. You're going to be happy. If you want a bigger size, do it. You're also going to be happy. I personally am getting the 12 Pro as my device, as I currently have the 11, and I like the size of it at 6.1 inches. But that's just me. Let me know what you're interested in. I would love to hear what color, what size you got, and how long you plan to keep it. All right, we'll see you later.